Troll Nation, Chris here with Telesplash Gaming, and you know what? I have a lot of systems. I have a lot of games. But you know what I don't have? I don't have a Switch. With Christmas coming, maybe I'll get a chance to have a Switch and play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But until then, if you guys are like me and you don't have it, I have a list of games that might be able to satiate that hunger. Some of these are kind of clones, complete knockoffs, and others have their own kind of flair. So stick around, let's take a look. So the first game on my list of Smash Brothers clones is Brawlhalla. Now Brawlhalla is a free-to-play fighting game on all current platforms, including the PC. Now the goal of this is to knock your opponents off the stage. Does it sound familiar? Well, it has local co-op, it has online co-op, and this has become a really popular free-to-play brawler. Most matches have up to 4 players, but you can do some custom matches to have up to 8 warriors fighting in an arena deathmatch. Has pretty simple controls, really easy to pick up and play, but it definitely takes skill to get to the upper echelons of Brawlhalla. This has become a really big esport lately, and there's been quite a few tournaments with some pretty good cash winnings. So Brawlhalla is a free-to-play game. If you want to get that Smash Brothers feel, but don't have the Switch and don't have any cash, Brawlhalla might be the one to check out. Second game up is MegaByte Punch, which is an online Steam game that has gotten pretty good reviews. Now the fun part and unique part of this game is that you actually get to create your own character, and if you're doing the single-player campaign, you get to progress through the campaign, kill other creatures, and then take their parts after you defeat them and add them to your arsenal to become more powerful. It does offer 2- and 4-player local multiplayer only, so no online as far as I know. Now you can play it co-op with a buddy, or you can have 3 other friends come over and do the traditional 4-player free-for-all. Just kind of like Smash, beat your opponent down until you can knock them farther and farther off the edge, and then you can keep them from coming back. Now the customization is really what kind of makes this fun, so everybody has to create their own character in the beginning. So there's no like real people you just pick up, there's no characters. You create it from scratch, and you can add stuff, you can add moves, you can add, bullets, you can add different power-ups, things like that to make your character more popular. So that's kind of the fun uniqueness to MegaByte Punch. Next up is Kung Fu Panda, Showdown of Legendary Legends. I don't know why, but I absolutely love that title. It's so repetitive, but I can't get enough of it. Showdown of Legendary Legends. Anyway, it is basically a Kung Fu Panda skin put over a crappy Smash game. It's okay. It was free on PS Plus, so we downloaded it. My son loved it, and you know what? It is kind of a fun, game to play. If you're a fan of the film franchise, then Kung Fu Panda is actually a pretty fun little brawler. But other than that, probably not the top pick on this list. The next game is one that was so hyped, and everybody was so excited. We're finally going to get the alternative to Super Smash Bros., the true clone for us Sony fans, and that's PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale. I remember I played this on my Vita, I got the beta, and I was so excited, and you know what? It was actually a pretty fun game. It was Sony's answer to Super Smash Bros., and it had some recognizable faces, although it was missing a ton of really popular characters that they could have used. It was still a pretty fun game, had a great idea. You take damage, you want to knock them off the map, real similar to Super Smash Bros. Unfortunately, the one bad thing about it is that it makes it almost impossible to consistently win, because instead of beating your guys up so bad, and flying them off the screen, you have to build up your special meter, and then you use your special meter to knock people out. So what happens is that you're constantly winning, and then all of a sudden, somebody gets a special, and they blast you, and they win. So it's not good for super competitive gameplay, because it used a little bit of luck, and someone used their special, and next thing you know, they're winning, and they were getting destroyed the entire time. So I think it's a good game, not a great game, and definitely not for the upper echelon of competitive gamers. But you know what? If they made a sequel and fixed a few of those wrongs, it could actually have a pretty good chance at becoming a true Smash Bros. Clone. But I've not heard any rumors since the original release, so who knows? We're going to go back a few years, but it still holds up, and that's Power Stone 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. Now you can play the single-player campaign and get your kicks off that way, or you can have a few buddies over and do the traditional deathmatch. There's dynamic stages, item boxes to help you destroy your opponents. And you know what? If you have a Dreamcast lying around, you can find this game. It is a fun game to play offline with your buddies, the old school couch co-op. Or in this case, the opposite of co-op. It's like death op? What is the opposite? I don't even know. With that being said, Power Stone 2 is a classic game that can still hold up today. Next up is a game that I haven't actually played, but I've heard quite a bit about, and that's Rival of Aether. Now they call this a Smash Brothers demake because it's literally like a knockoff, but it's 8-bit, it's old school, it's like the opposite but the same. Characters have unique elemental moves that can literally change the landscape of the stage. It also features some familiar faces in Shovel Knight, a very popular character from his own game, and Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest. And they've also brought in a couple skins from the earlier mentioned Brawlhalla of Ragnar and Wu Shang, I think that's the name. So it's doing well, it's bringing in skins, bringing in familiar faces. Now the only thing is there's actually no 4-player Brawl for All. It's 2v2, so you have the tag team match, which is kind of cool, but it's a little bit different. So 2v2 instead of 4-player, but it is a very, very, very cloney 8-bit version of Super Smash Brothers. Now, if you're a kid who was watching a lot of cartoons in the early 2000s, then Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion might be the game for you. Now, for me, I wasn't big on cartoons then, so I really can't relate to a lot of these characters, but if you were a Cartoon Network fan, this is going to be a fun one. Now, the game itself isn't fantastic. It was released in 2011, but it definitely features a ton of characters from the Cartoon Network, 21 different stages, and each time you hit your opponent, you knock these cubes out of them, and you actually use those cubes to fill up your special meter, and then once full, you enter Punch Time Explosion. And you unleash a fury at that point. It just powers it up, and you just go buck wild on your opponents. It's got single and multiplayer options, and there's plenty to do, but the reviews were actually pretty negative, kind of mixed, so it's not a great game, but if you want to get together, kill some people with the Powerpuff Girls, then you know what? I'm not going to stop you. Moving on to Brawl Out. Now, I love the aesthetics of Brawl Out. It's very crisp, very clean looking, and the fun part about Brawl Out is they have some characters from the indie gaming scene. They have Hyper Light Drifter, Guacamelee, Yooka-Laylee, and Dead Cells. They all make an appearance. Now this game is unique that it doesn't have any shielding or grab maneuvers. It's all offense from here. There's a rage meter that fills when you take damage and it increases your damage as it goes up, so your meter goes up, your damage goes up, and there's a ton of unlockables through the various methods of gameplay. So Brawl Out's a really fun game. Some people don't like it that you can't do any defensive maneuvers, but you know what, if you want to go all out offense, run and gun style, then Brawl Out might be the one to pick for you. Now last up is going to be one that I really enjoyed playing, and that's Towerfall Ascension. I loved Towerfall. Now it's not quite your 4-player, Smash Brothers clone, but it's still a 4-player arrow shooting game. There's a single-player game, there's co-op, so you can beat the story through co-op. So I really loved Towerfall. The 8-bit graphics were really pleasing to me. It was kind of nostalgic seeing it, although it was a newer game. So Towerfall Ascension is a really, really fun single co-op or 4-player brawler where you have to shoot arrows, you got to collect them, there's different arrows you can shoot like bombs, there's freeze, so there's some really cool stuff. And if you haven't had a chance to play Towerfall Ascension, I really highly recommend picking that up because it is a fun game. Alright guys, that does it for my list. If you were like me and don't have a Switch and don't have Super Smash Brothers, then maybe one of these games will take care of those needs until you can get one. So, with that being said, keep rolling, keep trolling. Let me know if there's some other games that I missed on this list. Take it easy. As always, thanks a lot for watching, guys. And if you like the content today, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Thanks a lot.